Okay, so if you've got to this stage, really well done. We're going to look at putting in a button housing and then a button into that housing, which involves a few different methods, but mainly using putting in new planes. So these three things here are called planes: front, right and top, but we can add extra ones wherever we want them. Now you've got the technical drawing attached, and you can see I've zoomed in on what the actual bulb housing looks like here and the distances it is from each end. So we could work from the bottom up or the sorry, that's the bottom there, isn't it? Bottom up or top down. The actual housing consists of a loft. So if you did a loft, which is an oval, which is above a circle, and then you loft the two as a remove, and then you can see the circle is then just stepped down by 1 millimeter. Now I've put a couple of notes here, although actually I've just realised I spelled that wrong, that the oval plane is 20 millimeters off the middle plane. So what that means is the plane that runs right down the middle here, whichever one you've made it on, 20 millimeters above that is what the oval's drawn on, and then the circle plane is set 2 millimeters below that one there. So that's what we're going to do first of all. So this could be done on either the front or the right. It doesn't actually really matter because it's a circular cylinder essentially. So I'm going to do it on the right, and I'm going to then select plane, and it's going to ask me what my offset is. And if you look just from here, you can see this is the one we're creating, that's the one we've come off. So it's showing that we've gone in this direction, and at the moment it's defaulted to 25 millimeters. So if we set that as 20, because this is a 40 millimeter diameter cylinder, it sits exactly on the top there. So we can tick that, which is good. So then we can turn and we can look at that plane, and it's over here. We can rename that plane if we want to, which is there, and we can call this the oval plane. And that way, if I select that, I know I've got the right one. And then I'm going to create a sketch on that. Now, along this center line here, we're going to draw an ellipse. So we're going to come up any distance we want, down and out any distance we want. So let's start that, and then it allows me to do this one here. And then I can set those measurements. So if I look at the bulb housing, I can see it's 25 millimeters in that direction and 15 millimeters in that direction. So that one there will be 25 and that one there is 15. Now what I need to do is I need to set the distance off either the top here or the bottom. So just looking at this now, we're nearest the bottom at the second, so I use that, and off the bottom we are 144.5 millimeters. So, and that actually takes me to this edge here. So if I take that measurement, it's going to ask me to go from the middle, now the middle to there. So what I need to do is add that dimension, which is 7.5, to 144.5. So that's going to be 152. So 152. And that's now moved that oval into the correct place. So I can finish with that sketch. Now what I'm going to do is I need to create a plane 2 millimeters down from that, as the instructions here I've given. Circle plane set 2 millimeters below the oval plane. So I can select a plane, and I'm going to select the oval plane, and you can see it's actually gone above, so I just need to change that to below, set that as 2 millimeters, and click OK. I'm then going to change this and rename it to circle plane, just to keep things nice and simple. And if I click on that and click sketch, I'm now doing my sketch on, and you can see it's a circle plane. So I'm going to look at this from the top, and I'm now going to change back to doing a circle, and this circle is 14 millimeters in diameter. So it'd be lovely if I could select that middle, but I can't, and the reason I can't is because if I look here, they're not actually connected. If they were at the same level, I could reference it, but because they're not, I can't. So I go up any height, click, add my circle, and make that 14. So that's fine, and now I need to do exactly the same thing, where I'm going to set a measurement, but this time I'm going to do it I've just realised I've made a mistake. That should be bigger, so I did that the wrong way around. So off the bottom I referenced the wrong end, so you might have even realised that. So off the bottom, that is going to be, it's because this is upside down in my mind, so we're up actually drawing about here at the minute, so it needs to be 144.5, and that's going to be added to half of that circle, and the circle was 14, so that was 7, which makes 151.5. So this needs to be 151.5, and that's going to send it up there somewhere. So all I've got to do is just go back and edit this, which should have been, I just delete that measurement there, and it should have been from here. So let's just look at it properly, between there and there, that should be 152. Now when we tick that, we should have the oval and the circle sat one below the other, which is perfect. Now what we're going to do is we're going to use our loft. So there's our loft, and we're going to select that, and because it's inside the shape, I have to actually select the circle, and you can see it's now grabbed hold of those two, but I'm going to do it as a remove, and there we go. We can see we've got our nice little profile it's brought into. The only thing we now need to do is, if we actually look, we can see that circle actually drops down by 1 millimeter as well. So I can actually, because it's a flat surface, I can select that, I can draw a sketch on it. Hopefully I can find the middle, but it's not letting me very easily, so what we have to do is just set that to 14. Now because you can see that's not lined up, I'm going to have to do the same measurement again, which is between there and there, and that should be 151.5 if I remember correctly. Perfect, there we go. Now we're going to do an extrude, a remove by 1 millimeter. And I can see that's going in the right direction, just down into there, and I can tick that. So that is how we do the the button housing profile. All we've got to do now is create a new part, and you're just going to create a button. Now to create that button, your new part just needs to be of 14 millimeters or slightly below diameter. It needs to be, I would make it 2 millimeters high, so it's just protruding, and then do a 1 millimeter fillet all round around that. And then in your assembly, we go into the assembly. Depending if you've done your assembly yet, you should be able to just put the button into that.